Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the October 21st meeting of the zoning board of appeals for the town of Ossining. My name is Sal Carrera, chairman, and joining me this evening are members of the zoning board of appeals, town attorney, building inspector, our secretary. Please introduce yourselves for the record.
Linda Farrell, board member.
David Krieger, member. David O'Neill, member.
John Turnquist, building inspector.
Christie Ivana, attorney.
Bill Boyd, member. We have two hearings this evening. I will read the public notice and then request the applicant or the representative to give a brief explanation of the relief sought. Anyone that has a comment should raise their hand and state their name and address. After the comments are received, the board will try to render a decision this evening. First public notice. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Town of Ossining Zoning Board of Appeals will be held on Monday, October 21st, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. on the application of Cynthia Decker for Brackton Road, Ossining, New York, in person at the John Paul Rodriguez Operations Center, 101 Route 9A, Ossining, New York, 10562, and by Zoom video conference. The property is located at 4 Brackton Road in the unincorporated area of the town of Ossining, identified on the tax map of the town of Ossining as section 81.17, block 1, lot 78, in the R21 family resident zoning district. The applicant is seeking an area variance from the terms of the zoning code of the town of Ossining, supplementary regulation applying to all resident districts, chapter 200-25A1 accessory buildings and 200-25B2 corner lots. The applicant is legalizing an existing woodshed structure previously built in the front yard. Application material and plan for Cynthia Decker for Brackton Road, Ossining, New York, dated August 2nd, 2024, are on file and available for public inspection at the town of Ossining Building Department, 101 Route 9A, Ossining, New York, and online. All interested persons are invited to attend the public hearing and to be heard on this matter. The public can send written comment by email to the building department of townofossining.com or regular mail to the town of Ossining zoning board of appeals, post office box 1166, Ossining, New York. Please feel free to contact our office by phone if you need any additional information. By order of the zoning board of appeals, Sal Carrera, chairman, dated October 11, 2024. For everyone's interest with regards to a criteria for an area variance, what we have to take into consideration before rendering any decision this evening, if it is reached, is one, whether an undesirable change will be reduced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. Two, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. Three, whether the requested area variance is substantial. Four, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Five, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. This factor is relevant to the decision, but the fact that the difficulty was self-created does not preclude granting of the area variance. For the record, also, we have a letter dated October 18, 2024, from Eileen Costello and Larry Eckhart at 3 Brackton Road in Ossining. The letter is available for anyone to read it. They sent pictures of what the structure looks like and also reminded this board that the zoning code states that sheds and accessory buildings must be placed no closer than 10 feet from the rear and side property lines in the backyard only. So they basically are against the applicant and the beliefs they're being sought this evening. So representatives for,
Yes.
yeah, maybe you can get up and give a presentation, give your name and address and a presentation to, this board? Besides what I've just read into the file?
I think there's some confusion. That's not the applicant.
Okay.
They're the ones that submitted the opposition letter.
Okay,
Okay, let me speak. I'm Cynthia Decker at Fort Bracken Road. Do I
you
begin?
can stand up, please,
Okay.
and, you know,
Um,
address the board with regards to your application and how long has it been there? How come you built it there, and whatever else you want to hear.
Sure, my lot is kind of, we have the pictures there. We have a front yard right in front of the house, and then we have what we considered was a side rear yard. It's a kind of corner lot between Maple and Bracken. We built a shed for wood logs. We purchased the fuel-based wood stove. For convenience, we decided to place it there. I have video where it's contrary to what's in the letter. I'm not sure how they got those angles, but I have a video that the shed is not able to be seen from the street. There's also a house right across from our house and the shed, which would be 5 Bracken Road, and they have not opposed the shed, so I'm not sure where or what the problem would be. I'm sure there could be some sort of resolution, and maybe I could cut it lower, or,
Did you ever call the town about where you could place the shed before you did it, or did you just decide to build it?
we just decided. I didn't think,
I have to disagree with you about that shed being not visible. Because I went by there, that must be about a month ago. You were supposed to be there once before, right?
I what?
I think so.
I'm
I
sorry.
got this a while ago. I know that.
Yeah, this came to us before a date was going to be set
Okay, thank you.
for.
Because I know the weather, I figured, let me go now,
Mhm.
when everything is still pretty much in bloom, to see whether you can see it from the street. And I've got old eyes, and I had no problem seeing it from the street as I drove by. It
Um,
sticks out right there. I mean, you have some bushes along that your border, but the ones close to the wood, you can see right through them.
Maybe I can connect to the television and show my video. I don't know if that's an option.
Well, with regards to whether you see it or you don't see it, I mean, that's part of what the zoning variance is for this evening.
Mhm.
But, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and, even though you have, green shrubbery, off the street, you can see it no matter which road you're taking, either way. So you definitely, can see the shed. And what we're talking about basically is the zoning code, requires that nothing is put in your front yard. The zoning code says, 10 feet from side, rear. This is even though it's a corner lot, this is the front of your property. And that's basically, why you're here.
Right.
Any other comments from board members? Then we'll go to the public.
I would agree with the assessment that when you go there, I went there as well, and I walked, and both drove and walked. And for me, both times it was visible from the street, and I would perceive this as being in the front yard. I disagree.
Anybody in the audience would like to give a statement with regards to this application? Please, please stand up and, give your name and address. You can come in here.
I'm Elaine Costello. I live at 3 Bracken Road in Ossining. The structure is very visible from the street and from every part of the front of our property. All windows, we get a bird's eye view. And if that structure was in place 25 years ago when we were looking for a home, we would not have bought that property. That's not what I want to see when I look out the window. Somebody's pile of firewood.
Anyone else from the public? Anybody on the Zoom meeting have any comments or questions?
No, Sal, comments. No comments from Zoom.
Okay. With regard to this application, I'd like to take a vote that anyone that's in favor of it on the board?
No,
No, no for me?
No.
Okay, anyone on the board that wants to say no to this application?
yes, I want to say no.
Okay,
No,
no?
no.
Okay. Let the minutes show that it's unanimous, that it's rejected. For the criteria of the area variance that we read before with regards to an undesirable change to the neighborhood, area variance is substantial, and it does have an adverse effect on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. And it was self-created because you built it there without coming to us in the very beginning. But that's water under the bridge, so I apologize, but that unit will have to come down. I think you should talk to the building inspector to give you a reasonable period of time, since it is a structure and it is on a foundation to some degree. So you're gonna have to make arrangements to get it out.
I mean, like you said in your application, you couldn't be moved. So there must be something there that should, other than just a shed.
Okay, so, you can take it down and my advice is to talk to the building inspector if you want to put it someplace else. So that you'll have to come in front of us again for any type of approvals and stick with regards to what the zoning code, warrants and, agrees with. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you can meet with the building inspector at any time, make an appointment with him, and, I think you'll be reasonable with regards to the demolition of the site. And if they do intend to build another one, give them some advice with regards to what, the code is in the 10 feet from the side and, real life lines of building another structure for firewood, I assume.
Yes,
Okay?
yeah, we'll find a different location that meets the zoning requirement.
I understood. I'd also like to hand them these notarized forms that I wasn't able to hand them before. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the second, hearing this evening. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Town of Ossining zoning board of appeals will be held on Monday, October 21st, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. on the application of Paul Tomasulo, 200 Route 98, Ossining, New York, in person at the John Paul Rodriguez Operations Center, 101 Route 9A, Ossining, New York, 10562, and by Zoom video conference, using the link. The property is located at 200 Route 9A in the unincorporated area of the Town of Ossining, identified on the tax map of the Town of Ossining, section 81.17, block 1, lot 30, in the R21 family residence zoning district. The applicant is seeking a special permit for the terms of the zoning code of the Town of Ossining, chapter 200-31.2, accessory apartments on a single family lot. The applicant is seeking a special permit to allow for accessory apartment in the basement area of their home. Application materials and plans prepared by SJP Architecture Design, Stephen J. Bassini, R.A., titled Tomasulo Residence Proposed Accessory Apartment, 200 Route 9A, Ossining, New York, dated October 4th, 2024, on file and available for public inspection at the Town of Ossining Building Department, 101 Route 9A, Ossining, New York, and online. All interested persons are invited to attend the public hearing to be heard on this matter. The public can send written comments by email to the building department at townofOssining.com or regular mail to the Town of Ossining Zoning Board of Appeals, Post Office Box 1166, Ossining, New York, 10562. Please feel free to contact our office by phone if you need any additional information. We do have a letter that was sent in from a neighbor, Glenn Adair, 190 Route 9A, that's on file at our office, which is the house right next door. And they have absolutely, no problem with approving the accessory apartment. I did explain to, the applicant and his architect with regards to the special permit is, one part of this application. But the second part of it is that our zoning code requires a maximum of 900 feet, 800 feet, and you put in for 909 feet. So you're really going to have the opportunity either to come back and ask for basically the special permit for the accessory apartment and or to leave it at, bring it back at 800 feet or come in and ask for another zoning request, okay, asking for the 909 feet. So that is something that, you and your client should discuss and let us know how you want to go about it.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm Steve Bassini, the architect, as you mentioned, the applicant and owner, Thomas Sewell, is here as well. Appreciate that conversation beforehand. We did discuss it. And then just so I can clarify, because I guess maybe the way you just worded it there, maybe I want to understand it correctly. We have applied for a special permit, obviously, for accessory apartment. There are two items in there, 3 and 4, which have to do with the architectural appearance of the entrance, and also number 4, which is the maximum square footage. If we request what we have here, which is an overage on the square footage, and we could ask to continue with this public hearing right now and request that, and I explained my case, make my argument. If this board sees it fit to approve that and that seeking that variance, I can also get the special permit tonight, or is it one or the other? If I ask for the 909 and I do get denied, I can still carry on with this hearing if we acquiesce to the 800.
You would really, and
Let's want to make sure.
You want me to?
Please.
So my reading of the code is that there's 2 separate requirements as to square footage for the accessory apartment. It has to be between 300 and 800 square feet, and then also not exceed 33%. So what you have is you don't exceed the 33%, which is understood, but you are exceeding the 800, which is that above that range. So right now, because you're proposing 909 square feet, you do not comply with the bulk requirements as they're laid out in the code. So if you want to proceed with a special permit for this accessory apartment as proposed at 909 square feet, we will also have to renotice that in addition to the special permit, you are also seeking an area variance.
That's what so that's what I was asking. Before I didn't realize that was the case. I had a feeling that was going to be because it's not notified, it's not publicly noticed. Okay.
However, if you were to make the representation to the board tonight, that you would be willing to go down to 800 square feet, if the board were comfortable with that, and it would then be conditioned upon you submitting a zoning compliant plan to the building inspector. That's really the only option of getting this done this year.
So in other words, the other point is I actually cannot request the amendment in this right now because it hasn't been notified. Is that what you're saying? I
You
can't help
can
but be
present it
requesting.
in the context of a special permit. I would not advise this board to move forward with an area variance because it has not been done.
May I make my argument here and ask for some sort of a soft vote? Is that possible to do so? At least I know where I stand, because then coming back for a month and not knowing if it's even palatable to you is it okay to make my argument here and ask for opinions? Right with the board? I mean, I don't want to waste your time, but
No,
you
it's
understand what
not
I'm saying.
wasting our time. It's just that if we have to come back because of the 909 feet, I'd rather do it in one meeting with regards to the special permit, which we have never said no to because you meet all the requirements. But the second part of it is, something else and asking for, what do we think about it? I just rather do that in one meeting so that it's a special permit and you're going to be, if you're going to come back and ask for the 909 feet, I'd rather do it all at once.
I appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, so if I don't explain it now and we do come back and ask for the 99 square feet duly notified in the public and it is denied, then I still would have to come back a third time.
No, then I would, in a case like that, being the chairman,
Yes.
I would basically, depending on what this board says. And if they say no to the 909 feet, because it is, and this is the zoning board of appeals, and this is, you know, what we're here to do, is going against, you know, the 800 max as far as accessory apartment is concerned. I would not have a problem at that time. You saying, let's go back to, I will do this at 800 feet with the approval of the building inspector and go for there. I mean,
Okay, understood.
it's a gamble.
So it wouldn't be, but at a point, I wouldn't be looking at a third meeting is my point.
That's
what
no, I don't get paid overtime for doing this.
You know, that's why I don't want to waste your time again, either
Yeah,
for my clients.
the least number of meetings that I can attend, you know, I really like that better. But I would not put you through that.
Okay.
I think I would just say at that stage of the game, that if you want to move forward with the special permit and bring it down to 800 feet, like you could do that tonight, and you could leave here with permit to go start building. And if you want to spend a couple of minutes outside with, you know, your
You mind,
client,
because it's-
no, no, go right ahead.
You mind taking
No,
2 minutes?
go ahead.
Thanks.
There's not any questions.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I mean, I think you.
Yeah, well,
can ask him
Yes.
tonight.
I mean, he had some questions with regards to the doorway and stuff like that, so I told him to speak to you, the architect.
Is that? Just for accessory apartment.
You know, I guess, if we read off record, off, And there are some questions that some of the board members would have, so they could.
Oh, there's more board members there?
No, here,
Oh, here, oh, good.
you know, we have an architect on.
Oh, you have
thank
questions?
God.
Well, good. I'm glad. I would actually like to,
Yeah, that'd be great.
and then if you don't mind, I would like to engage in a conversation about why we would like the 909. Understanding all of it, what you just laid out. Council has laid out as well. Is that all right?
Okay, so.
Okay, but we
let's-
started,
Don't we have
like,
to, I thought we didn't notice that.
No, they're gonna come
confused.
back. Their decision is to come back and, go for the special permit. And also, amend the application for 909 versus 800, which requires, as far as I'm concerned, another meeting. And I respect you for that, and that's okay. But in the meantime, so that we can get prepared, David has a couple of questions that you might be able to.
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions about the existing conditions down here. You have the proposed floor plan, but is there anything down there currently that exists? Like,
this is also a legalization. Yeah, I mentioned that.
is the kitchen existing?
Yes.
Currently?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so,
Fireplace in the kitchen that goes, the elements down there in the plumbing exist.
so this basic
Yep.
configuration
This is a
exists.
legalization. It will be with the building department,
All right.
understanding fees and fines and everything else, yes.
So to get to the 800 square feet, you would have to carve something out of it.
For the door, goes into the door, yeah, I mean, things
To
like
do.
that. Well, I wouldn't say
something
carve
like
it so
that,
much, but we'll make it better.
Right, you don't have the opportunity to move the kitchen, shrink it.
That, no,
It's
no,
really-
yeah, within a limited means, yeah, that we don't have it, correct, yes.
Is this,
Was there,
excuse me, Chrissy, we're on solid ground that he has to come back because it's 909 versus 800.
Yes.
guys, may I then take 2 minutes of your time for your time and
You
explain?
can take as
what-
much time.
I know you're, like you said, you don't get paid.
No
I don't wanna-
problem at all.
I don't want to take your time. Some people will be here too, but I don't know.
When
Either
I'm
way.
here, you can stay for as long as you
Well, no,
want.
I'll be quick, so, first of all, I'm sorry. You said that? Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. You hit the nail on the head there as far as it's an existing situation, so what we can do in there by reasonable means is limited. I mean, obviously, we're that, but everything, do things like that. So we're trying to work within the confines of what's there. The way the stairs come down into that space right now, existing, that was the existing house. Stairs come down, the garage, the front entrance, everything sort of lends it to the layout it is now, with not much wasted space. Taking out another chunk of space in there would require some additional, framing and doors and sort of a very, really oddly allocated storage closet underneath the stairwell in the back. But either way, we could make it work, but the question I have is, the reason we went forward with this is I feel like, I mean, you're asking for a relief from a zoning code. Bulk regulations, I think you actually mentioned, the council, I mean, specifically what it is. So it would be the same as if you were requesting side yard setback or an area variance or some of those other things. And there's a percentage, I know it's not something that's set in stone. In my experience in my years, 20% always seems to be that high range. Nobody wants to go above, but I know that that's not set in stone. There's nothing written like that. But I think what we're asking for is a 13% overage on the actual 33% of the floor area. And I'm sorry, no, we're asking for 30% variance over the 800 square feet, but we're well under what the actual 33% as you pointed out. I know we have to meet the lesser of the two. But I think when you're just asking for a variance, normally if I ask for a side yard variance or a setback or things like that, we talk about how egregious it is. And there's those 5 things in the town code. Is it's a detriment to the neighborhood, the environment, is it self-created, all those things. Obviously, this is not an impact to the environment. There is no impact. We're not constructing anything. The parking spaces are there. We're not doing anything to the environment. There's no additional drainage, no nothing. As far as impact in the neighborhood, the only thing really that impacts the neighborhood is a doorway that's going on, which again is not impacting any neighborhood, as I pointed out in the notes there on the photograph. You can't see this this entrance from anywhere except for Route 9A, and then the neighbors, which are I think about 150 feet away, between woods. So there's really no one ever seeing that entrance except for someone coming up to the front door of the house. I mean, postman, whoever, neighbors, owners. So I think as far as an impact on the neighborhood, there is 0 again as well. So we go through those things, and as far as whether or not this is a major request, as far as the percentage of the variance, I really don't think it is either. Again, it's 13%, and it's an interior modification to a house. You're not adding anything. There is no bulk being added. There's nothing being
You're
added.
adding additional people.
Sorry. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So as far as the impact on the parking and also on public, transportation things, there's no public transportation there. And obviously, if it's a family that moves in with a child, It could be a burden on the school system, but I think that's really the point of accessory apartments and why they were generated in all of the zoning codes in the municipalities of Westchester, is to be able to provide low-income housing for moderate income families, low-income families. So that's really what you're doing. I don't think there's really an impact on the neighborhood as far as that's concerned. The parking's there already. If there's somebody playing in the backyard, it's a big yard. It's not an impact. I don't think it really impacts anything. So I guess that's why I felt might be a possible ask to come before you and say, we're requesting a 13% variance on what the code is, because there's zero impact, in my opinion, on environment, aesthetics, everything else. If it's self-created, 100% self-created, but then, and this in the town code, it says you can't use that as a basis for all of them decisions. So I really think that it leans towards an acceptable variance. It's an area variance, a bulk variance, which this board grants on a regular basis, I'm assuming, for maybe not sheds, as I heard tonight. That's a big deal. Front yard sheds, I get it. That's a big thing. But side yards, rear yards, things like that, an extra foot, 2 feet. If that ends up being 2 feet and a 7-foot setback, that's more than my 13% that I asked. So I just felt that there was something that was acceptable to ask, and it doesn't hurt asking, understanding that the only thing I could be told is no. So we're here to make that argument. I do think that it really is zero impact on anything. It would be an impact, a benefit to the applicant, obviously. Resale value for a 2-bedroom apartment, a special permit alone is a value to the home. 2-bedroom is more, but I know this is not financial, and that's not the discussion. So the benefit, I think, really is just my owner, and there's no detriment to anyone else. So that was the argument I wanted to make.
You're gonna have this opportunity when you come back. in
Right,
another
I understand.
Couple of weeks
I
to go.
understand. But that was what I wanted to say. And
No,
I felt that.
and say, or in the application, everything that you just basically, explain to us, which we fully understand what the criteria.
Sure.
You should, take one step at a time of apply. And, when you write in for this zoning or for the next meeting, that's what you agree. And, we will take it under consideration at the next board meeting. Like I said, accessory apartments, are very important in the town and every municipality. It's just that, the way this is written, the max was 800 feet, and this is, 909. So it basically is a special permit and a zoning change.
So if I may ask, actually, counsel, if you don't mind me asking his interpretation, or building inspector or whoever, but I've seen before in other codes in other municipalities, sometimes it's up to the discretion, at the discretion of the planning board, if they're the approving agency or the zoning board, to waive some of those items underneath, which is, this is 12 items in this regulations. It's up to the board to waive some of those items, if they feel it's
Waive as opposed to variance.
So, yeah, they use the word waive, and some of it sounds like Mount Pleasant, some other place like that. I don't know if but I know it's not everywhere, but this case, it would be a variance, I'm assuming. Your code does not say it's up to the board, but I'm curious as to if something is said at 800 square feet or 33%.
It's
Obviously,
not or, I want to be
I'm
very
sorry, you're
clear.
the
on
lesser,
that.
the two, the
It's
lesser.
between 300 and 800, and also shall not exceed 33%.
Sorry, I missed-
Two separate requirements.
I misspoke. But she says the lesser. Does it say the lesser or, okay. So I misspoke. But the point being is that those regulations are set for a maximum area. That's big. Obviously, this board needs to pick a number, and whoever the wise people were that wrote this code years ago, they set a number. They set setbacks. Is there no ability or any language or any history of anyone ever waiving or approving a variance on something like that? Because that's what the boards are meant for. Just curious. Is there a reason why the 800% was what it was? Is there some sort of? Yeah.
Without putting Chrissy and the position here, she didn't write the code.
No, I know.
But it was adopted relatively recently in
Right.
2018.
So it-
Okay.
This is recent, and this was,
and-
I think the intention,
No,
the intention was to make sure that the accessory apartment was not too large, and that it was also proportionate to the existing structure, right? So if it was just 33% and you had a 5,000 square foot house, then you could have 1,700, 1,800, that would be very large for an accessory apartment. Whereas if you have a 1,500 square foot house and you wanted to have an 800 square foot apartment, that would be disproportionate as well. So I think the intention was to maintain a relatively small size, given that it is supposed to be accessory, and it's also supposed to be affordable, right? If you start making these into very large apartments, they're not achieving that affordability that was intended and that we talked about earlier. So there was a lot of thought that went into it.
I didn't say that those, I said that very wise people. I was curious where the number came from. And you are right about outpricing for the purpose of this. But as I look through the code as well, I'm sorry, online, I looked through Zillow and looked through all these other places. Rentals in the town of Austining for 1 to 2 bedroom, they're sometimes in the range between 9 and 1,200 square feet. So I think obviously we want to be in.
You're right, we're not in accessory apartments, and we're doing this.
Okay, yeah, that's why I'm
Most
just
of this board.
And probably
Did they have
not in the, are we talking the village?
the town. That's what I looked specifically in the town, but you're right. Not that they weren't listed as accessory, those as apartments.
But the 900 has not come in front of us.
Okay.
Since this has been implemented with regards to accessory apartments as long as I've been on this board, and I've been on this board for probably close to 40 years. So this is the first time that it exceeds the 800 feet. And that's why, coming back in a couple of weeks at the next meeting, will be, answer the criteria for an area variance and for the 109 feet that you're asking for.
Understood. I appreciate
And,
that.
and that's what the zoning board of appeals is here for, is to look at what the guidelines are in the zoning, and you come in for an appeal, with regards to, how come and why, if you rightly deserve it. It's a little different for, area variance. You try to, max out the criteria. A use variance, you can't do that. You have to, for a use variance, it has to be 100%, in the favor of the use variance, which is almost impossible, to get today. But, you did the dissertation already on the majority of the 5, and I would answer that, in your next application, so that it makes it much easier for us to make a decision.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I will drop that. Can I just ask real quick? Because I don't want to be caught off guard. Item number 3, is that something I need to address and notify about as well? Item number 3 in the out of the 12 regulations is the front entrance. Because again, if that's something I need to request relief from, do I need to have that publicly noticed?
The,
Want to make sure.
Do you want me to read what it says?
sure,
The architectural treatment of the structures on the lot shall be such as to portray the character of a single-family lot. Only one main entrance will be permitted on the front side of the principal building. All other entrances shall be at the side or in the rear of the building. In addition, no more than 1 meter for each utility provided to the lot, gas, water, etc., shall be permitted. Notwithstanding the above, if an accessory apartment is located in an accessory building on a lot, that accessory apartment may have its own metering. So you're asking that there only be 1 main entrance to the front of the building and all other entrances have to be to the side and rear? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, that's the part of the code of master plan, and because of the layout of the house, I have no other means but to put an entrance on the front. But if you see in the elevations, I specifically laid it out to show that it's on a different level.
that was another question with regards to that, you're supposed to have 1 entrance, this is gonna be 2 in front of the house.
So I
There's
have,
no other way of getting into it.
it's just practical there, and that's why I also showed it sort of at the angle. You can't see that again anywhere unless you're walking up to the front door on that walkway.
Doesn't look like the main entrance.
That's what I was making a point of. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
No, I look, sure.
But it just wanted to make sure because that's, again, an item in there and I didn't want to come forward for the next meeting. I shouldn't say, that's all. We're okay.
It says all other entrances shall be at the side or the rear of the building.
That's gonna, it will have to be addressed, and that is a zoning variance with regards to, if it cannot be done on the side, then that's something that everybody's gonna have to consider with regards to how do you get into this problem.
Let's just notice them both.
I'm sorry?
Let's just notice both of the variances so that we cover our bases.
Working with regards to
I think we covered this pretty well.
Okay.
Any comments or questions from anybody on the Zoom meeting?
No comments, Sal.
You were raising your hand before. You want to have anything to say?
No, I was just gonna say, it wasn't for so much a monetary reason to do this. My daughter was married last month. And it would be nice to have her back home. That's why you say, everyone keeps saying accessory apartment. I always thought it as a mother-daughter.
Right.
You know, I just wanted to make it safe. That's what I wanted to do. The entrance, windows that he said, that's why.
Yeah,
Not so much, I don't want, I'll be honest with you, I don't want anybody that I don't know living.
fully understands. The town that really got to the mother-daughter, we stuck with the accessory apartment to a degree, but yeah, it is, you know, mother and daughter to a degree, then it has to be, you know, a family member, and really the accessory apartment rule and regulations from, you know, years ago when this first came out, was basically, to do a couple of things. Not one of which is, you know, giving it to a family member, but it was supposed to help older retired people in their home that has plenty of room. Okay, I got 3 bedrooms in my house. I'd be more than happy to turn into a, you know, a shelter, that's for sure. But also, you know, affordability for, you know, people that are in need of apartment. We never went that far when it came to the monetary part of it. It was, you know, just dealing with accessory apartments that would hopefully fill a void for people, you know, that are in need, whether you're retired, or helps with the mortgage or something like that. I fully understand, you know, a mother's
I
daughter.
mean, it's hard for the young
Yeah,
people now to save money. to
No,
buy a
no,
house.
listen, you know, that's why we have the zoning codes and we try to adhere to them as much as possible. And that's why we have the zoning board of appeals to try to massage it, for the applications that come in front of us. Okay, any other comments or questions? Would like to close the public hearing part?
Will the public hearing be closed?
Okay. Thank you. You want to just, do as a continuation of this or for the next meeting?
Don't we have to send out notice?
Oh, yes, I have to send
Okay.
out notice, sure.
Well, the question is, do you want to renotice the special permit as well, or do you just want to notice the variance? Whatever we. Either way.
Your call, Chrissy.
Okay, we'll just put in in the new public hearing notice, the part about the special permit as well. That way we can do it all in one fell swoop if the board's comfortable at the November 18th meeting. Yes, we'll include the need for an area variance for the front door and for the size of the apartment. It's a different type of relief. So the
Right.
special permit is just for the use of the accessory apartment. What we're trying to do is clean up the ways in which what you're proposing doesn't comply with the bulk and dimensional requirements of the code, which is relief that this board can grant. We just have to notice it so that there aren't any loose ends or potential issues.
Your last neighbors might be upset about a third front door there, no?
Well, the neighbor that already wrote in already saw the set of plans and the door is there. It's not in the back. It's not-
No, I'm sorry.
No,
No, there's no third front door. That, what I showed right there was the proposed. Only 2 front doors.
Oh, it hasn't been.
So that's why I was saying 2, yeah, not 3, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll, adjourn this for a future date to accommodate the zoning requests above and beyond the special permit.
I mean, I assume there's time for me to submit for the, okay,
Yes.
so, okay. Should I ask that before?
And what I would do, as I said before, is that, you know, since you gave the presentation ready, I would go with the criteria for the area variance and say, this is what it says and this is what we feel.
Okay.
All in favor of,
I,
closing this hearing? All in favor? Unanimous, it's closed.
Thank you for your time and your guidance. I appreciate it.
No problem. See you in a couple of weeks.
that's me.
Okay.
I was gonna get back to the hardship one, I know. You want the paperwork for Cindy after that?
Margaret, we can,
Yes, for.
we can end the meeting.